Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Monkey in the Morning. I am your host, the Ranting Monkey, and I hope you're having a good whatever the hell day this is. It's hump day, isn't it? Having a good hump day. Get out there and hump, you guys. It's how we make each other happy. Remember, always get permission first. This is Kyle. Thank you so much. He says, hello, chat people and Monkey. Hello, sir. Hope you're well. I was just thinking about the food pyramid, you guys. I don't know why. I just remember it from back as a kid. I used to have the pyramid drawn all over our classrooms to teach us to eat properly. I also remember not caring much about it. And I know they've changed it a bunch since then. I was like, I should go look it up and see what the food pyramid looks like these days. And I thought, it's probably got tofu or some stupid shit like that on it now. And I probably don't even want to see it. Michelle Obama was helping with deciding what was good food, so it's probably garbage because she almost starved kids to death. Remember that? The the school lunches that actually look like, people in homeless camps are like going, damn, why don't you feed them? Good God. But yeah, I don't know why that struck me. I wasn't hungry or anything. I wasn't even thinking of food. It just one of those random things that pops into my brain. All right, so should we jump right into Oprah? Should we? This silly bitch. Oprah Winfrey. She has this new Apple television show. Any of you guys watch the Apple network? You got your iPhone, so you can do that. She has a show on there, and as part of the show she said these things. There are white people who are not as powerful as the system of white people. The caste system has been put in place, but they still, no matter where they are on the rung or the ladder of success, they still have their whiteness. She went on to say, whites have a leg up. You still have your whiteness. That's what the term white privilege is. It means that whiteness still gives you an advantage no matter. Oh, God, this stupid shit again. Oprah's a billionaire, you guys. Billionaire. And she's preaching to you about how white you are and how much privilege you have because of that. I'm moving my mic so I don't sound so weird. Hopefully that's better. Sorry guys, I feel like somebody's just kicked the absolute shit out of me. I'm awake and able to do this, but my body's like, can we lay down while we do it? If I could find a way to get my mic in my bedroom, I'd be doing it from there right now. But anyway, so no matter where you are on the rung, you guys, whether you're living in the street, a 5-year-old white child living in the street, you have your whiteness. You have it. You have privilege that Oprah just doesn't. Your homeless little white ass has some privilege that she doesn't. I was looking it up before the show. Where the fuck does the word white privilege or the phrase white privilege come from? Most people know it from McIntosh's book, Unpacking the Invisible Knapsack. That's where it gained prominence. This is a book that was written in 1988. And nobody paid a lot of attention to it until a couple of years ago. And then suddenly white privilege became all the talking points because some college professor decided to start using this as a book to teach with. And then other ones did. And now you have white privilege. But I was looking for further. I wanted to know where it came from. And the earliest known example that I could find of where it was used, earliest known example, is from a man named William Du Bois. William Du Bois was a black civil rights leader in the 1930s. The 1930s. A white woman, 58 years later, or 5 decades later, took the same phrase and made it mean something different. There's a difference between saying there's white privilege in the 1930s and in 1988 or in 2020. Huge fucking difference. Huge difference. In the 1930s, yeah, it could be argued no matter how poor you were as a white person, you probably had it better than blacks. There's a good chance of that. Today, stop it. Knock it off. Oh, God. This is the earliest known usage of it I could find. William Du Bois in 1930s. And according to what I found, he tried to use it to explain how whites benefited from racial segregation. You know, shit that's not around anymore. He had a point. He had a point. 90 fucking years ago, there was a point. Today, Oprah, a fucking billionaire black woman, telling me she has less privilege than me because I happen to be less melanin, because I only have freckles instead of all black skin. That's fucking retarded. And the fact that this stuff is still going on, that this nonsense keeps getting bigger and bigger and more influential people are spouting it, is fucking weird. How anybody can look at a billionaire talking about how whites are more privileged, how whites have a privilege no matter what rung they're on because of that color of their skin. The phrase comes from when there was segregation, the 1930s. 1930s, you stupid sons of bitches. And you're gonna be hey, I don't got the privilege that poor white kid over there got. I just got this $1 billion. Actually, she's worth like $3 billion. I just got this $3 billion and my maids and people waiting on me hand and foot, and I never have to worry for nothing. But I mean, I'm not white. Yeah. You know what happened to white people who were coming up the same way Oprah did? White kids who went to her school. You know how many of them became billionaires? Not many, if any. I don't know. I feel like we'd hear it if like every white kid who went to her school also became billionaires. But don't even look at that. Look at the white people who were in the same job she had at the same time. Sally Jesse Raphael. What about Jenny Jones and Ricky Lake? How many of those white privileged people are multi-billionaires today? How many? None. Jerry Springer, who's still going strong, doing talk shows and shit. He ain't no fucking billionaire. Oh, but they got that white skin. It gives them privilege somehow. That gives them some weird privilege. I'm tired of this one. This one's so goddamn stupid. It's so goddamn stupid. There was a time when it was absolutely true, where there's no denying it was true. You know, say, I don't know, 1930s. When systemic racism actually was a thing. When separate but equal was law. There was a time that, yeah, there was a privilege just from being white. It doesn't exist anymore. These fucking people, they want to live in the past. They want to fight fights that have already been won. They want to go back and re-battle the civil rights era and even refight the Civil War. Like, we won. It was a hard-won battle over more than a century to get to where we are. But we're here. Enjoy it. Stop looking for these ghosts. Stop trying to find relevance from fighting past battles. We won those. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. We don't need to keep fighting those same wars. And when you have a billionaire, a fucking billionaire, telling white people no matter what rung you're on, you have that white privilege. Well, how about this, Oprah? I'm pretty low down on those rungs. How about I cash in some of my privilege for some of your billions, bitch? Not much. I'm not asking for much. I feel like my privilege is probably worth say $6.5 million. Right? That seems fair. From a billionaire. I'll cash in some of my white privilege with you. Just $6.5 million worth. You send me a check, and we'll call it. I mean, we don't even have to call it even. It's my white privilege. You need to give it to me. Anybody think I'm getting that check? I'm gonna get Tom Steyer's money before I get fucking Oprah's. For fuck's sake. We don't need to keep fighting the same wars. It's over. But I found myself once again in agreement with a commie. God damn it. What the hell? What the hell's her name? I forget her name. Anna something. I talked about her yesterday. Shit. I had the tweet up and I closed it so I could send Jack the link. Thank you, Frank, over on the Streamlabs, who says just because a law changes doesn't mean don't affect future generations. That's white privilege. That's a quote. That's nonsense. That's nonsense. It's exactly what it means. Anyhow, I'm trying to find this tweet because I was just like, stop agreeing with me, commie. Although me and her agree for different reasons. Shit, how do I find her? I don't want to just go through everything again. No. Where do I find who I'm following? There we go. Does it show me who? Yeah, there we go. Where is it that she did it? She says, Oprah is the richest woman in the world. That she's pushing identity politics to defer away from her own wealth, privilege, and power shows you exactly why identity politics is meant to harm the lower classes. Now, she and I agree on it being bullshit, on it being a diversion. We just don't agree. Oh, good morning, Nala, who says she was just finishing my morning stream. Well, welcome to my new morning stream. And hi, Becca. Hi, Nuts. How you guys doing? I am kind of looking at chat, but I'm also, anyhow. Me and this lady, her name is Yes, That Anna over on Twitter. She's a commie. Make no mistake about this. I'm not encouraging you to follow her. I just find it odd that she and I have been in agreement recently. Oh, mostly. We have slight differences on the outcomes and what it means. For instance, in identity politics. I believe identity politics has been used for a long, long time to try to kick off the communist revolution. And largely to failure, because it's a lot harder to have that fight. Hey, Sin, how you doing? It's a lot harder to kick off your communist revolution with blacks against whites or men against women or gays against straights. Your communist revolution has to be class-based. And when you have, as long as you have poor white people or poor men or poor straight people, you're never going to get that. You're never going to be able to have somebody take be like, oh, we have to take up arms because Oprah said white people have privilege. Nobody's gonna fight that. She's right here. I don't think it's meant to harm lower classes. I think it's just that people aren't that bright. I think they're trying to kick off this fight using something that doesn't work. It's turning the people against each other. You got to turn away from them publicans because they're the bad guys because they fight the commies. But if you want to have a communist revolution, you have to do what Bernie Sanders does, what your AOC does, what your squad does, what that squad does. You got to get in there and tell poor people how much those rich people are fucking them. That's how you get your communist revolution. You go out there and you tell them, Jeff Bezos has billions of dollars. Oh no. You ever notice they never mention Oprah's billions of dollars when they're talking about billionaires? They never go, this black woman has a lot of money. It's always, Jeff Bezos is making too much money with a company people won't stop using. That fucking Jeff. Thank you, Frank, who says Bezos' wife is worth 57.8 billion. See, white privilege. Look, if he had married a black woman, she'd be worth that right now. Snubber, thank you. Looks like Rashida is falling out of favor. The squad themselves haven't really been together that much in the last year. I said the squad because Talib is facing a primary opponent tonight. And it's really been hard to find anything about it. 2 hours after the polls closed, there was still less than 1% reporting. But on the New York Times, where it was the only place I could find that had actual results being shown, it said, what was it? One of the members of the squad, 4 freshman women of color. I was like, oh my God. Freshman women of color. Yeah, that's what's important, is the color of their skin. Stop with the race baiting. You're not going to get your communism that way. You got to go after it. You got to go after the rich people. Which means, I'm sorry, Oprah, they're going to come after you. You got $3 billion. Why are you sitting on $3 billion, Oprah? Remember, they don't understand that a lot of that would be in real estate. A lot of that would be in stocks. They think she's just sleeping on a pile of money. So, Oprah, what you doing, man? Why ain't you giving that money away? Nobody needs. Remember, billionaires should be outlawed. You have people who say, it should be illegal to be a billionaire. People have said that. Monkey, they don't really want communism. Yes, they do. But she's a billionaire. She's a billionaire. Bitching about how white people got, advantages. That 5-year-old homeless kid. Whew, he just don't know how good he got it. Let that billionaire black woman tell him. She'll explain how she heard about somebody getting pulled over one time. Oh, God. I watched this video of some guy that Alyssa Milano had tweeted out. He's telling the story about how he got pulled over. He got pulled over for not having plates. And explained to the cop he did have plates. They're paper plates. And that's not a joke about paper plates. When you get a brand new car, they'll often give you a paper license plate while you wait for your new one to come in. Now, I don't know why they stopped him, because if they'd seen that on the car, they shouldn't have stopped him. My guess would be that it wasn't in a visible spot, or that the date was past due or something like that, which any of those is possible. He doesn't actually explain that part. Police are well aware of how that works. They've seen them before. It's not like this car driven by this black man was the first time they'd ever seen a paper plate. And they're like, oh my God, why does he not have a real license plate? But anyway, they pulled him over and he said he explained to him about the paper plate. I'm like, all right. You shouldn't need to explain that, but all right. He says, and then the cop said, oh, okay. Well, I'm just going to check this against, the database and make sure that you're the one who's supposed to be owning this car. And if it's right, I'll let you go. And he says this, because as a black man, you're always guilty until proven innocent. I've been pulled over right in front of my house with my real plate that belonged to me and my car, because the cop who was following me entered the plate wrong. For some reason, just driving down the street, he decided to check my license plate. And when he entered it into his little computer there, he got it wrong. Thank you, Midnight Exile. They still get their revolution by making white people the scapegoat for all of the ills of the wealthy and being POC absolution of it. It works. No, it doesn't. If it did, we'd have had this a long time ago. They've been doing that for decades. They've been doing it for decades. And no, it never latches on. Got to go after the rich people. It's got to be rich versus poor. That's how these revolutions take place. That's how the history of these revolutions take place. Anyway, so he gets pulled over, and as he's waiting there's a white woman who pulls up in her car up a little ways off the distance, and she starts filming. He says she's visibly shaking. And he realizes she's an ally. She's an ally who stands there for 15 minutes while he waits for this cop to check him and give him the go-ahead. And then he looks back at the white woman, and she gives him a thumbs up and gives her one back, and realizes that's an ally. She waits until he drives off before she does. It's an ally. That's fucking stupid. If you're going to have somebody stop and record every goddamn traffic stop across the entire country, you're just going to make more traffic problems. Etc. and puts an X, I'm guessing, to doubt. No, I believe it. I absolutely believe it. We've seen people asking for this. If you see the black people involved with the cop at all, make sure you record it. Let me tell you what I say. If you're involved with the police at all, make sure you record it. White, black, Chinese, I don't care what you are. We have the ability to do that now. Break out your phone, start recording. And I have no doubt what he said happened. What I didn't like was his because as a black man, this happens when you get pulled over. I've been pulled over. I've only gotten 2 tickets in my life, but I've been pulled over 4 or 5 times. I got pulled over that one time for that. I'm sitting there. I got off work. It was midnight. And I was literally in front of my house. The house had the house is on one street, but the driveway was on another one. So I was just about to turn to go onto that street to turn into my driveway when the cop hits his light. I'm like, God damn it. So I pull over. I know I hadn't been breaking the law. And I sit there for like 15 minutes. He never gets out of his car. I'm just sitting there going, all right. And then finally he walks up to me and tells me, yeah, I checked your plate. He explains it to me. I'm like, go the fuck away. My house is right there. I'm going home. I didn't say that because I didn't want shot. I'm like, okay. And I just turned on my car and pulled in the house. Yeah, but the idea, I had to explain the plate. I'm like, where'd you have that? Did you have like dark tinted windows and he couldn't see it or something? And you had it in the window? That happens all the time with traffic stops where they will make sure it's yours before they let you go. You simply saying it doesn't make it true. I'm surprised. See, that's the other part of the story. If that cop had seen that, he'd have just entered it before he ever went up and talked to him. He'd have known. But anyway, just want to let you guys know that that you might start seeing a lot of traffic slowdowns, not because of the police pulling somebody over, but because of all of the allies who are going to start recording it. For fuck's sake. She was an ally. Okay. I'm glad you have allies. I'm glad nothing bad happened to you from a simple traffic stop where there was no reason for the police to bother you other than to do the check because he obviously couldn't see your fucking plate. Let's see. Is this how we turn traffic stops into performing monkey thing? I don't think I went by monkey back then. I think that's pre-monkey face. Yeah, I'm a good driver. I follow the rules. I always have been. I don't run traffic signs. I don't speed. I only speed like maybe 4 miles an hour. And that's just because I heard a rumor once that in Michigan they won't pull you over for that. So that's what I stay at. The one time I was stopped and got a ticket, I was going slightly over the speed limit. I was doing it was like 73 and a 55, something like that. She was nice. She only wrote me a ticket for 65. She goes, "You know how fast you were going?" I'm like, "Yep." And she said she was giving me the lower ticket because I was honest. Like, I'm trying to get home, lady. I'm trying to get there fast. But the tongue lashing I got from Lady Monkey, and no, not that kind, the yelling at. She was not happy with me over that. It wasn't worth it. It was not worth the extra 5 minutes I'd have saved on my trip. You know what? It ain't worth it. The other one I got was for a seatbelt. I wasn't even driving that time. And I don't believe in seatbelts. I don't believe seatbelts should be mandatory. To me, they're very much like masks. If I want to go flying through my windshield, that's my business. That seriously. I get it. You're trying to lower the traffic or the traffic deaths. So you have people put on seatbelts. That's fine. But I think it should be my choice. If I want to stop saving me from myself. Stop saving me from myself. I understand I have a better chance of surviving an accident if I'm wearing a seatbelt. But don't tell me I have to. You're not my mom. Fastest ticket I saw in Michigan, 180 miles per hour in a Dodge Challenger. Fuck, they got space to go 180. Seatbelts are only good for 30 miles an hour and under. Just as many people die with seatbelts as without. They just don't tell you that. I've heard the stories of those. There's stories where people have gotten stuck in cars that were, that ignited because they couldn't get the seatbelt off. They've had to cut them open. Not the people, the seatbelt. Whoops. And I get that. I do. And I know the arguments for and against. I'm willing to wear a seatbelt. I am. Just don't tell me I have to. You're not my mom. And it's simple things like that. That I feel our country has really lost their balls. We've really lost our rebellious spirit. Like, look, let me make that choice. Smoking is one of those. No, monkey, you can't say smoking. What about secondhand smoke? Fuck right off. Fuck right off. The studies on secondhand smoke, especially the one that C. Everett Koop, the one who gave us the secondhand smoke, is just as bad as firsthand smoke. Okay, let's say it is. Now let's talk about exposure levels. Let's talk about how much it dissipates by the time it hits you. Let's talk about if I own a bar, it should be up to me whether or not somebody can smoke. And if I let people smoke in my bar and you want to come in there and you don't like smoking, go to another bar. But no. We can't have that. We can't have that. We need to be safe. We need our mommies and our daddies and our babas and our blankies. We need our special teddy bear. We need our special teddy bear. We need somebody to make sure that we are never in any danger at all. Frank, thank you so much. Who says, what about them routinely increasing the child seat law? It's not required a seatbelt or helmet on a motorcycle, yet and I'm in a car. I never understood that. I do always wear a full helmet, though. I don't get it either. One of the funniest things I ever saw, my son, we're about to get into a car, and Michigan requires booster seats up until, I forget the size they want you to be for a booster seat. But he was still within that size, but he was bigger than his aunt, who could drive and didn't have to have a booster seat. And he's like, that's not fair. I'm like, you're right. You don't have to sit in that booster seat. Yeah, he was happy or tall about that, or as tall as her. Did you know we had the choice back in '84, New York first mandatory law we lost? Oh, you're talking about seatbelts? Yeah, I don't understand them if that's what it is. I don't understand the government telling us what we can and can't do, and people being like, yes, that makes sense. It's for safety. It's for safety. Go ahead and piss all over my freedom. I don't need that freedom. And one of the funniest parts about it is a lot of it is people. It's like, well, I don't smoke, so I don't care. I wear my seatbelt, so I don't care. I wear my mask, so I don't care. It doesn't affect me. But it gets to you eventually. It does eventually catch up with you. Like in Michigan, when they decided for the very slim moment that you couldn't buy soda with, food stamps. No, how dare you take my freedom? Look, man, I do most things safely. My vices are probably sweets and cigarettes. That's it. Everything else, I try to be as safe as I can because I want to live a good, long life. But it's not for me to tell you how to be safe as long as you're not hurting anyone else. Seriously. But monkey, the masks, they can get other people sick. You can get other people sick through a mask. You can get other people sick with many of the ways you see people wearing masks, pulling it down under their chin for half the time so that they can speak and be heard. Thank you, Hazmat Sad Boy. That's what I said about suicide, unless I'm talking stupid. If so, please correct me. What do you mean? About trying to stop people from committing suicide? Yeah, I don't understand what you mean there. It's not like you can throw somebody in jail because they committed suicide. You can't fine them for suicide. I'm not sure how it relates. The freedom to take responsibility. Exactly, what's your name? And we don't demand it anymore. In fact, we and when I say we, I don't mean each of us, or because individually, no, because you're listening to me bitch against it, obviously. But as a society, as a country, we're like, we can't be trusted with responsibility. Why don't you do it for us? And it's nonsense. Attempting suicide. If attempts fail, you can be jailed. I've never heard of anybody jailed for it, or at least not recently. I mean, you get put into a psychiatric ward. In that case, you don't have all of your faculties, I would say, And absolutely, they should be able to at least try to help you. That's not exactly the same as not wearing your seatbelt. That's the same as not wearing your seatbelt and then driving into a wall at 60 miles an hour. Attempted suicide is a misdemeanor, though, so follow through counts for something. There's a lot of places that attempted suicide is still illegal, but you don't hear about people being charged. At least I don't. I haven't heard of one of those in a while. Probably since the 80s. Snubber, thank you. Sadly, the hospital can detain you for suicide if they deem you a problem. The police will force you to stay. It's bull. I have no problem with that. Nobody in their right mind is trying to commit suicide. I mean, at that point, you remember the talks we've had about asylums? Throwing people in asylums? You should go there for a while. There's a difference from not wearing your seatbelt and trying to kill yourself. There's a difference from smoking a cigarette and putting a bullet to your head. They're different. They're a little bit different. But hey, if you guys want to say Joe Biden, if you're let's say your son tried to kill himself and they want to lock him up, you're like, no. Hey, if he wants to do that, let him out so he can. That's up to you, I guess. I disagree with you, but it's not the same thing. Yeah. You ever feel like you were just born at the wrong time? And I feel like, you know what? I wasn't born at the wrong time. I was born at exactly the right time. I would have fit in better with people who valued freedom more. I would have. But they didn't need me. And that might sound very conceited. But the voices of freedom are needed now more than they've been probably in 50 years, 60 years. The people willing to stand up and go, no, we do not need more government control. Those are more needed now than any time in my lifetime. They would have been nice when I was younger for more people to stand up and shout. I'd have fit in at other times much better. But I think I was born at the right time. Now I just got to get my voice heard by more people, which means, guys, hit that like button and share, God damn it. And if you can, of course, donations are always appreciated. Not required, but appreciated. Did you guys see the explosion there in Beirut? It was weird to see an explosion in Beirut and it not be from war. And I know I shouldn't laugh about that, but when I was growing up, and Beirut has always been like, why would you ever go there? That's a fucking war-torn hellhole. But it's been pretty quiet for a while. They killed Gaddafi and not Gaddafi. Wrong place. Shit. I forget the ruler that they were having the problem with. Anyhow, it wasn't Gaddafi. That's a different place. I've completely blown off my whole train of thought. Anyhow, Lebanon calms down, and Beirut becomes it's a pretty nice city. I mean, they have problems with Hezbollah and things like that, but they don't tend to cause problems in the city there like they used to. And watching that explosion there today, it's like, damn. One, that explosion, holy shit. That was amazing. Now, there's some people dead and a lot of people hurt and a lot of building damage, and that sucks. I hope those people find peace. and that the ones who are hurt can be fixed and they can get their place back to normal. But holy shit! I watched that shit. I'm sitting there watching it because I wake up and Lebanon was trending. I was like, what the fuck happened in Lebanon? And the video plays. I'm like, all right. Oh, there's a fire and there's an explosion. And then the second explosion happens. I was like, what the fuck? And then you get that big burst of the water vapor going around it because this is down on a dock. That's what caused so many people to say Moab, where they think it's the air combustion that caused that big, the white cloud. That was very likely water vapor. This is right over a fucking water source. Giant explosion right over a water source. But worse than that, because so many people were impressed with that, that shock. Yes, Jacob, the shock wave. You can actually see the shock wave in one of the videos. The cloud dissipates, and then there's this wave that comes. What was it? A 3 point something on the Richter scale. If that had been an earthquake, and it was felt as far, what was it, 700 miles, something like that away, that they felt this fucking thing. This, oh man, horrible, just horrible to see. Kind of cool. It's sad that people died, but fuck. Lots of people talking about what it was. I shared a vid that had the shockwave from the water. Yeah. Is that the one on the boat? Watching a shockwave. The shockwave is where a lot of the destruction comes from. It's not the explosion itself. That tends to be pretty small in a lot of explosions. It's the shockwave it puts off that knocks everything down and throws people against walls and shit. There's a video of someone in his car. They caught the explosion. It totaled his car. Fuck. Yeah, it's amazing how many people were filming in that direction. Am I the only one who thinks that? Because a lot of them caught the original explosion. You have a little bit of a fire and stuff going on down there, and you can see. They said it was a fireworks factory at first, or sorry, a firecracker factory, not fireworks. Difference, guys. Which could explain the explosion, the way they make fireworks, which are basically just small little bombs. Does anybody believe that that's what it is? That it's just a fireworks factory? I don't believe that shit at all. But then it came out that the Lebanese government came out and said that there was it a nitrate bust that they had done back in 2013? Might have been. All of the stuff from that was in that area. And that might have been what exploded. They've been sitting there for 7 years and oops, fire happens. And then, now worst case scenario, aluminum nitrate. Yes, there you go. And I don't want to think about this part of it. That could have been terrorism, man. Like I said, this is Beirut. It's not exactly known for their peaceful ways, you know. Duck Dog says September 2019. What about September 2019? The story we read, if you're talking about when they got that stuff, it was the article specifically said somewhere around 2013, 2014. So if you have a different thing, I'll have to look at it. I just don't think they know that much. Bruce says, nope, it was a factory, a bomb factory. They're bombs. The way it exploded, it doesn't look like a bunch of bombs exploding. Unless they all blew up at once. Because if you have bombs that blow up, one will blow up and then the next one will blow up and then the next one. This just goes kaboom. One giant explosion, which looks more like, I'm not saying it wasn't a bomb factory, but that would look more like the catalysts all going up at once. Them be like, if you go and look at Oklahoma City, thank you, Mighty Balzac, who says somehow it's Trump's fault. Probably. We'll see that soon. Trump didn't take over Lebanon. This is what happens. But anyway, if it was like a whole bunch of the fertilizer Tim McVeigh used, that stuff ignites all at once, and it fires through it. If you have individual canisters of it, you know, you got to get it all to simultaneously, which is what happened there. Whatever blew up, you had the small explosion, and then you had everything else all at once. Fuck. My first thought was dirty bomb. Did anybody else think that? Anybody else go to that place? Now, that would be big for a dirty bomb. From what I've heard of them, those would be a much smaller explosion. Just with it, just is like, What if somebody knew of this place that would be easy to blow up, and this was like some kind of weird test run? What if they knew about like the nitrate, the sodium? Is it sodium nitrate? I always forget what it's called, which one it is. The only thing, look, nitrate is what I use to make gunpowder in 7 Days to Die. That's as much as I know about this stuff. I know it's used in fertilizer, different kinds. Hazmat says, dirty bomb like the video game? No, like the dirty bomb. Sodium nitrate. Okay. Somebody knew about that, and this was a weird test run. Like we know sites where people keep this stuff. Weird test run. Ammonium nitrate, they're saying. All right. Like I said, I don't know. Whatever it is, the most I know about real explosions are watching bombs being dropped, watching footage like this, and then watching things like Mythbusters. Mythbusters, they have a whole bunch of different explosions. And you get to learn how things are likely to explode. And there's a difference from when there's a slow explosion or where a couple of things explode and where just something touches off all at once, like a room full of gas. When that blows up, boom. Like that lady with the car. Remember when she put the gasoline in the back of the car and lit it and blew her ass up? Ignites immediately, and there's a slow explosion to it, but it all goes at once, basically. You get that giant burst that threw her fat ass on the ground. I just think that take a look at the radiation levels in Sicily yesterday and today. For what? And Mythbusters is awesome for that kid stuff. Mythbusters is awesome for getting kids excited about science because you learn all these weird things you can do with it. And for people who like explosions, which I really do. There's this great one they do where they're trying to prove whether or not two semis coming together in a head-on collision could completely destroy a car. And they try a bunch of tests where they're using the actual semis and everything, and they can't get it to really go. So they decide to hook up this rigging at a rocket test facility where they actually use government rockets to fire something into this car, which, by the way, obliterated the fuck out of it. But watching that thing explode was fucking amazing. Jedi Ghost Bear, thank you. This thing looked like the USS Arizona going up. It looked like it looked like a bomb, but I think it's because of what was in place there. My brother had a chemistry set, didn't go well. To see if there's changes, if there's a spike that suggests something caused that spike. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Yeah. Midnight. I forgot I was talking about dirty bombs a moment ago. Yeah, that makes sense. Do they keep tracking? Is there a place you can keep it and keep track as civilians? I know if you're not necessarily saying do that, but if Sicily checked and they're like, holy shit, that would definitely. Yeah, I just think that if you were going to stage something like that, if you're going to be like, okay, we have some hard targets where we know we can cause some serious problems without actually having to bring in a bunch of munitions, Beirut would be a good place to check it out because nobody would think twice. It's fucking Beirut. Thank you, Rodline, who says officials are blaming highly explosive materials stored in a warehouse for 6 years. President Michael Aoun, I think he said, tweeted it was unacceptable that 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate was stored unsafely. Yeah, I think that's the story we had read about, or at least that's the same gist of the story we read. It was supposedly from some confiscation back in 2000. They're kind of iffy on what date they're talking about. 2013 to 2014. Yeah. Either way, holy shit, if you guys haven't seen that and you do like explosions, fuck, watch it. There's like 80 different angles of this fucking thing. 80 different angles of this shit. It's pretty impressive. And it shows you the danger of explosions, man. There ain't a whole lot of good that comes from that. Ted Cruz has introduced something called the Reclaim Act, and I'm with him on this. I am with him on it. It is an act that allows people to have a federal claim if something happens to them or their business because their mayor or their governor has had the police stand down. So like what we've seen all over the place, businesses being destroyed because the city is like, no, like Seattle, for instance, all those people who lost a bunch of fucking business there in the chop zone because the mayor just wouldn't do her fucking job. They're like, look, you now have federal cause. I don't know if it'll get passed because it'll have to go through the House, I'm sure. But it's a good thing that needs to be done. It's a good thing that needs to be done. We need to have something to hold these fucking shitbags to account. And when you have the police going, you know what? We're not going to do our job to protect you. We're not going to do our job. In many of these cases, it's not like they would even be in much danger. These crowds are largely pussies. Break out some fucking gas and they'll run even with gas masks on. There you go. That's all you got to do. Like, we can't gas these guys. I mean, we know they're being violent shitholes, but we're just going to go home so they can be violent shitholes. That's not you. That's your job is to provide safety for your citizens. The same people who are like, you can't smoke in a bar will happily let you burn that bar down as long as you're saying it's for George Floyd. They'll be like, oh, fuck, we can't stop him. Isn't that funny? Isn't that some cosmic irony right there? Can't smoke in it, but you can set fire to the fucker. And the owner doesn't get a say in either. There's a difference of when the police just cannot stop something and from when the mayor of a city, when somebody like Wheeler is just like, no, let them do it. Let them do it. In Ferguson, we're going to just let the riots wear themselves out a little bit. Yes, you can't go to church, but you can riot. There are some people, there's 5 people, I don't know their names, suing the city of Seattle because in order to protest, they have to buy body armor and gas masks and all kinds of other protective equipment. And that cost is too prohibitive for them to be able to protest. So it's a violation of their First Amendment rights. That's true. That's a true story. 5 people suing the city of Seattle because protesting requires riot gear. Except protesting doesn't. Once again, if you watch, you can see video of these demonstrations from usually mid-afternoon through about 4 o'clock in the morning. And you can watch past there, but that's when the majority of the stuff happens. The stuff that happens during the day, the vast majority of it is peaceful. Police aren't involved at all. They just like, all right, you go out there and sing and chant and be a jackass. There you go. No big deal. At night, turns into a fucking riot every fucking night. And that's when you have to have your gas mask. That's when you have to have your body armor if you're going to be out there, because you're going to get shot with pepper balls, which don't sound fun. But here's an idea. Even in those cases, the 30-day siege of the Justice Center there in Portland, it was possible to stay the fuck back, still chant whatever the fuck you wanted to, and not have been bothered by the police at all. It was the shitheads who were going over the fence, or who were trying to break into the building before the fence was there, or the shitheads who actually set fire to the building before the wood was put around the outside. Those are the ones who have made it so you have to have riot gear if you want to be out there, because they won't stop the shit they're doing. Stop breaking shit. Stop burning shit. Stop assaulting people. And the police will stay out of it. Yeah. Suing the city for that. Now, of those two things, that lawsuit or Ted Cruz's bill, I fully support Ted Cruz's bill. And the people in that lawsuit can go fuck themselves because they're stupid. I hope they waste a ton of money on the lawsuit. They're going to lose easily because there's nothing stopping them from going out there and protesting. This is just a dumb story. I got to put a picture on the screen here. Do I need to move that? No, that's good enough. What you're looking at here is a bear. This is a tag on his ear. And there's a collar around his neck. It's a tagged bear. And somebody has put on the tag a sticker, Trump 2020, keep America great. And it has upset some people, like really upset people. Where's this? Black bears who will not be voting in the upcoming election, but that's not stopped one bear from unknowingly showing a little support for the incumbent president. Frank, thank you. Maybe if they'd go to work instead, they could afford it. Oh, that's right. I see what you did there, but yeah, even then, suing for it. Go fuck yourselves, guys. Fucking asshole. Anyway, help Asheville Bears, Asheville Bears. An organization in North Carolina has put out a $5,000 reward to find the person or people responsible for putting the Trump 2020 sticker on the tracking tag of the bear. Quote, whoever put these political stickers on these bears is cruel and heartless. Whoever put a sticker on the bear's tracking tag is cruel and heartless, you guys. They put a sticker on a bear and it's cruel and heartless. HAB and our followers hope to stop and expose you. This is now the second bear this has happened to, which can only mean either someone in the study is doing this or it is someone in the public. Either way, a full investigation needs to be done. I want to read that part again. Either someone in the study is doing it or someone in the public. So someone is doing it. Someone is doing it, yes. The bear probably didn't put it on himself. There probably wasn't a raccoon who thought it was funny. There's no squirrels rolling around with a sheet of Trump stickers. It was a person. You're right. You're right. Either someone in the study or someone in the public did this. I can't believe somebody would do that. I believe this is an abhorrent practicum. These bears are already suffering enough with the heavy collars and metal ear mutilations, but to put a political sticker on the collar, no words can express or describe. Sorry, no words can describe my anger and sadness. Look, they're very mad. They're already mad that the bears are tagged. The bears actually had something put through its ear. That's the tracker, up there in the ear. It's wearing a collar that it's not used to. But the worst thing of all is a sticker. A sticker. It's if this was in the Babylon Bee, I could deal with it, but this is real life. I can't believe they put a sticker on it. It's enough that it had to deal with that mutilation. But putting a sticker on, I cannot express my anger and sadness over a fucking sticker. Over a fucking sticker. And sorry, people have put a sticker on a bear. No, they didn't. They put it on his collar. And it's fine. He's okay. That bear is totally a Democrat and would never wear that sticker. And he can't take it off, you guys. I mean, he's actually a Bernie supporter. And this is so sad. My anger and sadness. Anger and sadness. It's a fucking sticker. Jesus Christ. These people need mental help. This is what we need asylums for. Oh my God. That bear's a vegan. Actually, it does go on to say in that story with this bear, there is a problem with this bear. This bear has become dependent on people for food. It's like a local attraction. People feed this. It'll come up to their house looking for food. You don't want a bear coming to your house looking for food. Not a good thing. Whoever that troll is, I salute you. That's probably what happened. Somebody probably fed this bear, and while it's sitting there, like, he doesn't care about me, and stuck the sticker on it. But for fuck's sake, my anger and sadness? Your life makes me sad. For fuck's sake. God. Sometimes I read stories, guys, and it blows my mind, the stupid shit I read. And then sometimes I read shit like this. This is a grown-ass adult, a grown person who is angry and sad that a sticker was put on a bear because it is just the most atrocious thing that could have happened. And I'm sorry, a sticker was put on a bear's collar. Yes, it was a black bear. Angry and sad over a goddamn sticker. It's not like, never mind. I can't deal with these kind of people. How do you get along in your daily life if seeing a sticker on a bear's collar makes you angry and sad? to the point of not being able to express it. I can't even express the anger and sadness. You need to be in an institution. And your mom and dad needed to hug you a little bit more. Or maybe a little bit less. Well, your dad probably needed to hug you more and your mom less. You know your dad, right? No? Yeah, didn't figure. Anyhow, I don't really have much news today, guys, because I spent the day in bed. I went to bed last night right after I got off the air. I didn't fuck around at all. I talked to Jack for about 2 minutes, and I took my ass into bed, and I stayed there. I got up for about an hour, and I was on Twitter there for just a minute, and then I was like, yeah, no. I went and laid back down. And then I watched, I went up and I ate is what I did. Wait, I'm trying to remember my timeline here. No, I went back to bed. I got back up, came out here. I didn't even really look at Twitter. I had a cigarette. I went upstairs to get something to eat. I laid on the couch watching It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which is another one of the shows I love to put on if I just want to lay down and go to sleep. And I watched about an episode and a half of that and fell asleep until it was time for the show. Frank, thank you so much. Only polar bears support Trump, don't you know? Well, they're the white ones, so of course. Of course. She sounded like she had enough issues where Jack might have a chance. That chick? Oh. She sounded like she didn't have a thigh gap. Just going to throw that out there. That bitch sounded like she eats enough to hibernate for the winter. Lacey Clay. Uh-oh. What is this? Protest leader Bush ousts 20-year U.S. Representative Clay in Missouri. Cori Bush, a one-time homeless woman who led protests following a white police officer's fatal shooting and blah, 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 ousted longtime Representative William Lacey Clay Thursday in Missouri's Democratic primary. Ooh. Ending a political dynasty that spanned more than half a century. Bush's victory came in a rematch of 2018, where she failed to capitalize on national Democratic wave that favored newcomers. But this time around, Bush's supporters said protests over the death of Floyd in police custody finally pushed her over the edge. So you took out another one of your party's leaders. All right. Bill Clay served 32 years before retiring in 2000. And Lacey, I believe, is his son, took over that year. He was elected that year. So yeah, his there's a family dynasty ended. That's all right. I mean, it's just weird to me, the Democrats eating themselves this way. She's a black woman, though, so that's all that matters, right? Oh, I saw Saikat Chakrabarti talking on Twitter again today, and talking about how there's a group of Democrats who will only go after weak Democrats, and he's like, "That's the wrong thing to do." Yeah, you keep going in there and knocking out your party leaders, people who, I mean. Somebody who's been in Congress for 20 years, there's a lot of people that think we need to have term limits, which just means this woman would have won sooner. It's part of the move to turn Dems socialists. Oh, it is. It absolutely is. This is part of the Justice Democrats. And the Justice Democrats are out there to take out their party leaders. Pelosi, you better be careful, lady. You better be careful. They'll come for you if they can find a candidate willing to do it. They're, man. I still haven't, I'm guessing Talib won because I haven't seen anything about it. The lack of details on that is kind of weird. Everywhere else in Michigan was already, 15, 20, 50% reported in. And for some reason, the 13th district was less than 1. Like, you guys are counting those votes very carefully. Very carefully. I'm guessing that's to make sure that nobody accidentally gets Tlaib out of office. Hey, Jack, how you doing, man?
Good. How you doing?
I'm all right. Reading through some stupid news stuff that's going on. Just was talking about my state. It's weird, Jack. Rashida Tlaib is up for primary tonight, and all of the other primary stuff that's in my state this evening, anywhere from, I was telling the audience, 15 to 50% reported in. And at the time, this is the last time I saw it, in the 13th precinct, they were still under 1% reported. Now, the polls closed for everybody at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And she is in a bigger district, so maybe the polls took a little longer to close, but because if you're in line when the polls before the polls close, you get to vote still. But the absolute lack of reporting, like, am I wrong? That's a little fishy.
It's always fishy, man. There's always something weird going on.
When the rest of the state is already reporting in, I don't know. It just seems weird to me. And I don't want to suggest that they're cheating. They're cheating. But it really, really seems like they might be cheating. There's a lot of things saying she's the projected winner, which is funny because like one of them's from 5 hours ago. And at that time, there was nothing reported. Literally less than 1% reported. It was 6,000 votes to 3,000 votes at that time.
Wow.
Is she going to win? Probably. Ilhan Omar is the one they really need to be worried about from the squad. Tlaib outraised her opponent by quite a bit, as a couple $1 million to 200,000. So, I mean, that's a good indicator she's probably likely going to win still. But how quiet they are on it, like, that's odd.
Well, all I can say is, somebody in the squad doing something fishy. What?
Yeah, I saw a news report tonight that it's something like 1.8 million or 1.6 million now total that Ilhan Omar has funneled to her husband's consulting firm. Like, no, you're kidding me. Yeah. Last I saw, it was like well over half of what her campaign had raised was being spent, I'll say, instead of funneled on hiring her husband's consulting firm. Yeah.
These people are fucking corrupt. It's so pathetic. They don't even try and hide it.
They don't. Not even at all. And that part of it is perfectly legal, guys. There's nothing illegal about her spending. She could spend all of her money sending it to her husband's consulting firm and getting it back, at least a decent portion of that to herself.
That's such bullshit.
She can't personally spend it herself. She can send it to her husband's firm. He can then get paid, and then she can spend it.
Yeah, I don't get that, man. I think that's such bullshit. Like, it's bad enough people hire their, like, extended families and crap like that. I get a little nepotism, but where you're giving your spouse money,
yeah,
give me a break.
That's pretty dirty. Pretty dirty. But there's no way you can prove that, it's not all on the up and up. Remember, she hired him before she started fucking him, as far as we know. Before she ruined her marriage and his.
Yeah, well, I don't know. The only person I feel bad for, if anything hits the fan, is that dude's ex-wife.
That dude's ex-wife, that poor woman. Your husband cheated on you with something that looks like an old pea and sounds like one too. And probably smells like pee. She looks like she smells like pee.
She does look like she smells like pee.
She does.
I used to work with a bunch of Somalis. They smelled like pee and poo.
She just looks like she does. Like she doesn't look clean at all. But she's ugly. Her voice drives me insane. And she's stupid. And I mean, his wife looked like she'd hit the wall. I'm not going to be, let's be honest. She looked like a middle-aged mom.
Yeah.
Of the two, you take the middle-aged mom. Except the middle-aged mom don't get that money. Ain't got that money. Okay, we got to talk about Karen Bass.
Hold on. Chris, I'm not racist. I just don't like smelly people. And people from third world countries tend to be a little fast and loose with the old hygiene.
No, there's some people, men and women, who just look like they smell like pee. And
it's
she's
true.
one of them.
Yeah, it's because they have bad hygiene, and you could just tell.
Karen Bass today had to come out and say she doesn't support communism.
Oh, bullshit, she doesn't. Have you read some of the shit she's up to?
I haven't had a chance to look at very much of it. I know that she had gone to Cuba and I was just 18 at the time, or something like that, she said. Which, if that's right, wasn't she there? Wouldn't that make it she was there when she wasn't allowed to be?
Yes.
U.S. citizens weren't allowed to go to Cuba.
Hate fact.
And in order to do so, you had to go to another country and fly from there or boat from there, whatever, to get to Cuba and then come back home. Hammond Bean said she made several trips to Cuba. I'd only heard about one. And yeah, she's like, I was just 18. And then there's the thing where I forget the exact comment she made, but something to the effect of condolences to common, whatever the fuck they called that shitbag Castro when he died. And she said it about him. And her claim is, I was giving my condolences to the Cuban people.
Bullshit.
One, the Cuban people, you didn't say to the Cuban people.
No.
Two, a whole lot of the Cuban people were happy to see that motherfucker dead.
Yeah.
And three, you specifically said it about him, not the country. And there was nothing about, yay, he's dead. You guys can be freer than you were. Nope. Yay, his reign of terror is over. Nope. But yeah, this is why I think they were going to pick her, because her name starts to get floated last week. And the stuff starts coming out about her. First, the Scientology thing. I don't think the Scientology thing is why they decided to put it. But anyway, her name gets floated. And then the Scientology thing breaks. And then the next day, the Biden campaign announces that it's going to be at least another week before they name a VP. So the Scientology thing comes out. For those of you who don't know, she spoke very highly of Scientology at the opening of a Scientology center there in, what is she, from LA? Somewhere in California, nobody cares about. But that video breaks. But I think the Biden campaign knew about this commie stuff. And they're like, ooh, we got to see how that plays. Because they use that. They use that against Bernie.
Yeah.
So I think her chances might be going down. I think they might be going back to Kamala.
That would not surprise me. Because there's still a lot of people that remember communism.
Yeah.
That we're around the Soviet era, I should say, because there's plenty of people ignoring China right now, but we didn't ignore the Soviet Union until after the wall fell. So yeah, I think that just didn't go over well, but I don't know. It's hard to say because that woman's I don't trust her at all. So Kamala might be the better of the two, choice-wise, but who knows?
Sin Nikki says she's a Scientologist and a commie. That doesn't work. No. There's no suggestion that she is a Scientologist. It's just the way she spoke about science. She was very, very complimentary about it. And she has said that all she was saying was that we can all come together and agree that there's good stuff to do for mankind.
Yeah, that's not exactly.
Yeah, it was fucking stupid the way she explains it.
Chris said, if you ain't L. Ron Hubbard, you ain't black, Joe.
Right? Yeah. It's interesting watching the Veep stakes here. I can't remember one like this. God, for a long time where it's been this long and they this close to the convention, they still haven't announced.
Yeah, I think they're a bit nervous.
Their convention is this month.
Yeah, but well, they have to pick somebody they think is going to be able to not only work with them, but actually be tolerable to the American people. It can't just be any random person, and they've kind of backed themselves into a corner on that.
I think they know that their VP is going to be looked at as the president.
Yeah, exactly.
And Cindy just said this month, this is going to be the president. Yeah. And I think what Jack was just talking about is true. The American people are going to look harder at who the VP is than they will at Joe. Because a lot of people know Joe is he's a placeholder.
Yeah. And it's more and more obvious every day that there's something not quite right with him.
And when you get the debates, and he has to go in there. That article, I don't know, did I mention that last night? The article from Joe Lockhart where he says that Biden shouldn't debate Trump.
Yeah.
His reason, what he says is because Trump lies all the time. Okay. Let's say that's true. Satsu pointed out something amazing. In any other election, any other person, your opponent is a known liar and you have proof that he lies all the time. You want to debate him. You have the facts and figures on your side. You can go in there and destroy him. You're a liar. Here's what you said. You're a liar. Here's what you did. But with Joe, they're like, you shouldn't go talk to him. Like, why? This should be the prime person you want to argue against. You can paint him as the liar that he is. There you go. Go do it. And with Joe, they're like, no, keep him in the basement. It'll be interesting to see those. But when it comes to the Veep, that's going to be the president, guys. That person should be debating Trump instead of Joe. They should have their VP pick already picked. It should, instead of, here's what should happen, Jack. The VP should be named, and then the VP should go, yeah, when he dies, this is who I'm picking.
Yeah.
A month or two from now, he could slip a lot more. Yeah. He is looking worse and worse, guys. And I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with this. We haven't been showing videos of him recently. He looks horrible.
Yeah. I think the stress is really not helping, but it wouldn't surprise me if he's not getting proper treatment.
The campaign is known to wear people out, you know?
Yeah. Well, if you're
go ahead.
If you're mentally breaking down, this is not going to help it. It's too stressful and it's a lot of work.
But here's the thing, Jack. Usually the campaign wears people down because you're on a plane all the time.
Yeah.
You're on a plane in a bus and you get a half hour sleep on a stop from here to here, or maybe 3 hours of sleep from here to here. And it will age you. You can watch it. Watch people from at the beginning of a campaign and then the end, and they've aged like 10 years. Joe Biden's in his basement. He's not running around the country. He's getting as much sleep as he needs. And this man looks worse than any presidential candidate I've ever seen. If he was doing this, if he was doing the typical campaign, if it wasn't coronavirus restricted, okay, I would get him looking worse. He's in his own fucking house, sleeping in his own bed as much as he needs to. And he looks like he's dying.
It's because he is.
Well, yeah.
Every day I see him getting a little worse. Like when he didn't know where he was the other day and he tried to do the little Alzheimer's smile. And if you've never been around somebody with Alzheimer's, that weird little nervous smile he's got, that looks a lot like an Alzheimer's smile. Because they don't know where they're at. They can't really grasp it. And they're just trying to reassure themselves and everybody else that everything's fine. I think he might not make it to the campaign at this point.
D. Quaidman says he looks and sounds like my dad in the last couple of years of suffering from Alzheimer's. Exactly. He should not be doing this. Once again, me and Jack, we're not saying this about him to make fun of him. I feel bad for the guy. I think these people should be charged with elder abuse.
Absolutely. This is cruelty.
Yes.
I never particularly liked Joe Biden. I always thought he was a lying douchebag, but this is cruel.
I've never hated Joe Biden. I think he's a politician. He's a typical, especially from that era, from the 80s, a typical 80s kind of politician. He speaks for the money.
Yeah, that's what I said, lying scumbag.
Yeah. Not that politicians today are much better, but this was a class of them. That they're the grandstanding, glad-handing, I just want to be president people. And I take no joy in what's happening to the man. I seriously think that his handlers need to be charged. I'm trying to find a recent video of him, and I can't find any of them here on Twitter. I'm sure somebody will send me one, but yeah, the last one I saw, man, he was ghostly white and just looked so frail. And like, I think it might have been the one you're talking about, that smile that he gives when he doesn't know where he's at.
Yeah.
And it's just like, Jesus.
It's sad. It's awful. And I'm really starting to think they're just trotting him out there for the thrill of it.
I'm really curious who they're going to put up as his VP. And not him, because he doesn't know who the fuck he's picking.
No, I don't think he's been in charge of any of this for a long time.
No, and it's sad. I don't want to see the 25th invoked, Jack. I really don't.
No, I don't either. No one does. It's bad precedent.
I mean, it's there for a reason, and it's good to have it there, but I don't want to see it invoked. There's just things that shouldn't happen. And a U.S. president being declared mentally unsound, that's not good precedent. It's not a good look. I wonder who's running things at the Joe Biden camp. Who's actually in charge? Because, there's always a chief of staff and they're supposed to be in charge, but that's not always the case. There's handlers that do things and such. So I'm wondering who's the one actually in charge here.
Hillary Clinton.
I'm actually surprised that they haven't named her as VP.
Well, they might yet.
They might.
There's still time.
I think it's important that there are debates. Going back to what Joe Lockhart said, I think if they cancel the debates, it's going to be a horrible look for them.
Absolutely.
Chris says VP Obama can't be. Well, he could be the VP, but that would just make the speaker become the president because he can't run or can't have the office again.
It wouldn't surprise me if they tried something like that, though.
What else is going on today? Republican elected officials like real Donald Trump who wanted to take away health care are on the wrong side of history. Nobody's talking about taking away health care.
Well, you got to scare everyone.
They're talking about ending Obamacare. And you know what? We had health care before that. You know that, right? They're not trying to make it illegal for people to have health care, you shitbag.
No, you're trying to steal health care away from my grandma.
Right.
Because Trump.
Oh, God.
Look, they can't possibly win this by saying how great of a candidate Biden is. For the first time today, I actually saw a yard sign that said Biden for president. First one I've ever seen. So there's just no excitement for the man. So, of course, they got to frighten everyone into going to vote for him because that's all they've got. There's nobody's saying like, "Hey, I really want this wackadoo Mr. Magoo guy in there." And no, it's just so frustrating to watch this.
People in chat are saying Michelle Obama. Again, I don't think Michelle has any designs on the White House.
I think she would wait until like 2024 and try it.
I've never seen any political ambition from that woman. Not the way you saw from Hillary, you know?
Yeah.
Hillary, that was her design she saw where Bill was going, and she saw that he could get her places that she couldn't on her own. I think Michelle was just the president's wife, and she had very much like Laura Bush had things, and Nancy and Barbara, that everybody had, you know, their little dilliances and wanting to get out there. I think Michelle Obama likes to be in the public eye. I just don't think she's the kind of person that wants to be president at all. Sub, thank you. There are signs on the U of I campus, Jack. There you go.
That's the first I've heard of. I have not seen any personally until today. So it surprises me when I actually see something like that because I just haven't seen any excitement.
I haven't seen very many signs at all. I don't get out very much, but usually there's signs as we go place. I just haven't seen any. Yes, I understand that Michelle Obama is both black and has a vagina, but she doesn't want it. There's many other people who do that would help the candidacy of Joe. Just pick any black congressperson who was picked or governor who was picked before 2018, and you got a decent chance. Kamala is a decent one for what they're trying to do. She's going to hurt them though because she's, you know, not real popular in the black community.
Yeah. Oh, real quick, thank you, Rodline. Local charity was collecting money for kids left orphaned because their parents died of COVID. I immediately thought of you and pulled some cash out of their donation kettle. Here you go. Thanks, Rod.
Nut says, last I heard of Michelle, she was starting a podcast. Yeah, she just had Barack on. It was supposedly a good podcast. I haven't heard it, but yeah, she, like I said, I think she likes being in the public eye. I think she enjoys the attention more than any first lady of my lifetime. Maybe Nancy. Nancy seemed to enjoy it a bit.
Yeah, she also enjoyed psychics, but
true. But she never showed political ambition. If Michelle got her own TV show, that would make sense to me.
Yeah, I think they like being celebrities more than anything else.
Yeah. What the hell is this? The follower of Jesus. All right, I'm not reading you. Jill Biden dismisses Trump's attacks on her husband's mental fitness. What about Bernie's attacks on it? Remember, before any Trump supporters questioned Biden's sanity, Bernie supporters are doing it. That's always forgotten in elections, Jack.
Yeah.
It's always forgotten who starts these things. They tend to start on your own side. And it becomes, whatever the most damaging shit is, tends to carry over into the general. Bernie supporters were the ones running around first talking about how, well, besides us, because we noticed it rather soon.
Yeah.
But Bernie supporters were the ones running around saying it. Bernie never said it because, he's Bernie. Man, I was watching today, Jack. I think Trump's going to lose this. As I'm watching right now, I think Trump's going to lose this. It depends on the VP pick, of course. But there's just been so much negativity floated at him. And he doesn't have the online backing that he had back in 2016. He could pull it out. The polls all could be wrong. But when you have literally the entirety, even more so than in 2016, I know that the press was against him in 2016, but not like they are now. I mean, this is an all-out assault. This is all out. We hate him. He's got to go. And it's disturbing. Not him losing. Once again, the Republic can deal with most of what's thrown at it. So if Biden were to win, I still think the country will be all right. I don't like the odds of us getting a commie as a president because Biden is 25th out of there. But the press itself, what they're doing, that's disturbing as fuck.
Yeah, the way they've all dogpiled on him, and the way the big tech is silencing a lot of conservatives. We're going to see a lot more of that if Biden gets elected.
Gray says those same polls from 2016 said that Hillary had a 98.1% chance of winning. The polls didn't say shit about a 98.1%. That was people interpreting the polls. I saw a Razor Fist video the other day, and I needed to talk about this because I like Razor Fist Jack. I've always enjoyed his stuff, but he did something that pissed me off.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. He's talking about this and how the polls in 2016 said Hillary was going to win, and he had proof because he had screenshots. So he shows screenshots, Jack, of polls. Shows 3 screenshots, one of which is actually a poll. One is a poll. The other 2 are like what he just said there, the 98% chance of winning, which is somebody interpreting the polls. And again, if you pay attention, because the poll that he showed, it was a national poll. It showed Hillary with a 6% chance of winning, or a 6% advantage. Nationally, she did beat Trump. That poll wasn't wrong. It was further apart than it should be. But nationally, she did beat Trump, guys. And I know people don't like to hear that. Some people go, no, there was cheating, or no, it was just California. California's part of the nation, guys. Where you have to look is the individual states and what happened in those individual states and what's happening in those polls there. Yes, there were polls that showed Trump would win some. Most of them showed that like Hillary would win, like she would be okay. And like here in Michigan was extremely close. Extremely close. 0.24%. That was the difference. And it doesn't take much to beat that. And when she has, I don't know what the polls were saying at the time, but let's say 6%. And Biden's at like 12% now. All of the polls have a much bigger margin. And that doesn't mean he's going to lose. But stop kidding yourselves that polls don't matter at all. Stop kidding yourselves.
I think there's a high possibility that with so much big tech collusion and so much negative press on Trump that he's got a good shot of losing this.
Yeah.
It's disturbing how much influence these people have. But everything's run by leftists and socialists these days. So it wouldn't surprise me if he ends up losing. I'll be very upset, but I can see it happening. And that's why it's very important. If you are supporting him, you go vote. And I don't trust this mail-in crap. If they do that, he's definitely lost.
I think, because if you go back to 2016, it's something like, was it 92% of stories or 96% of stories written about Trump or told about Trump were negative? But there's a difference from that negativity to what we're seeing now. That was negative. This is openly hostile.
Yeah.
Those are different. And you have the Washington Post who claims that the president has lied 20,000 times. They're not talking about Trump getting his agenda through, which he's mostly done. He's mostly completed his agenda. They're not talking about that at all. They're spamming him with COVID. Though his response to the COVID. That's the story, Jack, that I saw. That was like, oh fuck.
They're gonna blame him for all the dead bodies in New York from all the old people that Cuomo killed.
Mm-hmm. Right now, the story is because Trump said we had it under control or something like that. I forget the direct quote. But Chris Cuomo on his show, like, no, Mr. President, it's not under control. Yeah, it is. Shut up. We're fine. We're okay. It's not under control. This is the kind of shit that you see. Donald Trump says it's under control, and then, but it's spiking. Donald Trump's not telling you the truth about how you're going to die.
That's just it. They're frightening people into submission. That's why they're doing all this extended lockdown stuff and all these, everything's closed. Everybody's losing their jobs. They're trying to fearmonger and pressure people into being miserable because then they know that he'll lose. It's bad for the incumbent.
I saw somebody sent me a story and I didn't get to read it, guys, but I did see, I see a lot of the stuff you guys send me. I don't get to read everything, but I do like the headlines and stuff. It's a headline. There's a school board. I forget where it's at. They're not going to allow school, Jack, but for $150, they'll have, you can put your kids in daycare in that school.
Oh, that's lovely.
How fucked up is that? Like, look, if you send them here to get educated, they'll get sick.
See, that's just more evidence they're playing fucking games with this thing.
Right? For fuck's sake, how dumb do you have to be to fall for this? Now, here's the thing, guys. Most people are that dumb.
Yeah. Well, they don't pay attention. Although I think some people are starting to wake up. And there's a lot of time still between now and the election. But right now, I don't feel very good that he's winning. I think that there's enough bad press going around that unless something crazy happens, I think there's a probably at least a 50% chance that Biden pulls this off. So
here's the thing. I should have prefaced this. I preface it anytime I give my prognostications right now. As of right now, yeah, it absolutely could change. We could finally get to the debates and Biden just completely shit the bed and everybody go, oh, no, look, Trump might be a lying shithead like the press tells me, but at least he knows where he's at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, they're taking down videos off of various sites, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, that are helpful to the president, like where they show Joe acting goofy, or they're talking about the lockdowns or stuff like that. The doctors are saying, no, the hydroxy, whatever works.
Chloroquine, yes.
Yeah, so it wouldn't surprise me if that has enough of an impact to swing this. But if Joe gets on stage, I think this is why they're trying to get out of the debates. If he gets up there and does something kooky, everybody's going to be like, whoa, hello, you. So, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of factors here that we have to consider. And it's frightening because there's so much collusion that they can still pull this off.
BG says people are starting to fight against this crap. And Justin asked, you don't think after the debates he will still lose? Here's the thing. We don't know what's going to happen with those. We don't know what's going to happen in the upcoming, like Jack just said, for the people fighting back. Shit's getting taken down when people fight back. And you have some people like, well, the silent majority. The silent majority needs to speak the fuck up.
Yep.
The problem here is that there isn't the push for Trump. Like you saw in 2016. You saw it at that time. Alternative media was for Trump for the most part. And they pushed back against the bullshit that the media said about him. Today, you actually have many of the same people who pushed back looking at articles about Trump and going, yeah, we told you so at the time. We told you he was like this. Like, whoa. You have very few voices speaking up like that. And if the election were held today, I think Trump would lose. I think he'd actually lose pretty handily, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, and that terrifies me because the last thing we need is a dementia patient running everything. Well, I don't think he could tolerate it.
Donald Trump, his biggest asset going into this was the economy. And the Democrats this is what they're framing, you guys. This is what they're framing. Trump can go out and say, look, before we had to shut everything down, the economy was great. And they're like, but we've had to keep it shut down because of you.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're trying to do.
Yep.
This looks more and more like collusion on the part of the governors to keep everything tanking. Like they're purposely destroying people's jobs because look how much people want to go out and work and now they can't. And did you hear what New York's doing with their restaurants and bars?
No.
Some officials said that they're going to, I think it was de Blasio, said they're going to be shut down till June of 2021.
Fuck.
Yeah. How are there going to be any restaurants left at that point?
No.
I mean, you have to pay rent, and in New York City, that's absorbent. So
restaurants don't have a very big margin.
No.
Yeah. Very few would be able to stay open. I did see a Biden ad today. It's not actually by Biden. It's somebody who supports Biden.
Bye, Biden.
It's somebody pouring a glass of water. It says Donald Trump was against clean water initiatives or something like that. And then it says Donald Trump equals dirty water. Is it dirty water or unsafe water? I forget. And then it goes, Joe Biden will fix that. Biden equals clean water. I'm like, fuck, that's stupid.
That is very stupid. But they know they can't win honestly. That's what's most frustrating about this is their entire campaign has been run on hide him away because he's getting significantly worse every day.
The COVID thing has complicated things in a weird way. And I don't know, Jack. I can't get past the idea that some of it's done on purpose. And I don't mean like closing things down, but closing them down when you don't have to.
Yeah. The massive overreaching closures. Plus, it also gives them an insane amount of control because people are letting it happen without pushing back. And when they do push back, they're painted as racists who want to kill your grandma. But it's okay to go loot and burn things. You can steal your shoes from Target, and those new sneakers could go to the polls, but you're not allowed to go to your parents' funeral.
As I pointed out before, never in our nation's history have we done this in response to a pandemic.
No, never. This is broad and reaching. Yeah, Kiever Dam, COVID 1984.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm stealing that.
This goes to never let a good tragedy go to waste.
Absolutely.
And
who is the most likely demographic to go out and vote? Old people.
Old people.
And guess who they're probably going to vote for? Trump.
And guess who's dying the most?
Old people.
I hate to be that guy, Jack, but we know old people die from this. We know old people are the most likely to vote. And we know old people are the ones who voted most for Trump.
Yep.
And Andrew Cuomo there in New York sent a whole bunch of sick people to go live with old folks.
Yeah, coincidence, huh?
Weird coincidence. Again, I don't want to be that guy, but
I'm that guy all the time. Nobody listens to me, so
it looks a little on purpose to me.
Yeah, and they'll claim it's not, and that we're conspiracy theorists, but it's a little fishy. That's all I'm saying.
You're closing down all these businesses, and your reasoning for it is they're non-essential. Okay. How many of those businesses do people actually have to be right on top of each other? How many of those businesses could be open with your 6-foot rule and wear masks? But we're not opening any of them. We're shutting everything down instead. We're going back to shutting shit down when we didn't even open in the first place. We barely opened. We started opening more restaurants.
Well, people were reopening and they could see the economy spike and they're like, oh, no.
Yeah. When they started reopening, 10 million people got their jobs back. 10 million.
Can't have that now.
You get rid of that, Joe Biden can't run commercials saying, when the economy crashed, Biden put me in charge of fixing it. I'll fix this too. You can't fix this one unless you get rid of COVID. If COVID is the real reason. Yeah. And you can't snap your fingers and make COVID go away. Or can you? Can you snap? I'm not saying you can make the disease just disappear, but I think you could snap your fingers and make everybody stop worrying so much about it. I think you snap your fingers and go, oh, by the way, look, we're looking at the numbers. You might get sick. It'll be like a little cold, and then you can go home. You go home for a couple of days, and then you'll be fine. You can come back to work. You know, like is happening to the vast majority of people. The overwhelming number of people who get sick with this don't have severe symptoms.
But you're not allowed to look in. No, that's a hate fact, good sir. You know that.
The vast majority of people don't get sick. Now, they give us the numbers, and it makes the death toll look really bad. Except for the numbers don't all add up. They don't add up, Jack.
Well, adding is colonialist patriarchy.
The number of people dying from this when they're hospitalized, which, by the way, you get hospitalized if they recommend hospitalizing you if your oxygen saturation is under 93%. 93 or below, I believe is what it is. I can't remember if it's under 93 or 93 and below. So we'll go with 93 and below. At that point, your chance of dying, if you are just a year younger than me, Jack, 44 or younger, is infinitesimally small. And your chance of even getting hospitalized in that age group is infinitesimally small. The vast majority of people who've died are old. The biggest demographic that have died is 80 and over. How many 80-year-olds are working?
Not many.
Shut everything down. You might bring it home to grandma. No, we locked grandma in a safe room. She's fine.
Yeah, that's just it. They're not giving you common sense things to do when you're out around the elderly. They're not giving you reasonable suggestions. It's just all panic mode. And that should make you a little suspicious whenever somebody tells you should be panicking all the time.
Yep. You're not likely to get sick and die from this. Again, it's not to say that nobody has. 150,000 people have been reported to have died this way. But there was just a clip out today that Satsu was talking about. Let's see if I can find that real quick, because I know he tweeted it out. So give me a second here. Where's that at? Nope. Damn it, Satsu. Why'd you do as much as I did today? Shit.
Because he could.
I know. I wasn't doing it, so he had to, I guess. Usually he's on Facebook, not Twitter. Damn you. Not that one. Not that. Okay, it's not here. Satsu, you son of a bitch. It's probably when I got to read so I can see where the tweet is. I hate that.
Did you look at his likes and replies?
Yep, I'm there. And I'm not seeing it. I know he's the one that tweeted it out. Oh, here it is. Yep, and it was one where I had to read so I could find the clip. Why is the clip not coming up? There it is. There it is. Hang on. But no, stop it. Stop it. Son of a bitch. All right. You're going to have to let me know if the sound is okay on this. Sounds all the way up. Take it. But no.
You got to hit the actual play button.
I know. I'm used to YouTube. I keep doing that. Let me.
View of Government, created by Cable in 1979.
That's okay. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a little low, but there's nothing you can do about that.
I can try turning it up on my end and see if that helps. Here we go.
One of the things that concerns me also is I wish that Admiral Guar was here. I asked this question of him last time was here, and we didn't have enough time to continue our discussion on it with regards to the sort of perverse incentive for the medical folks to claim that somebody died of COVID versus if it's an automobile accident, for instance, as long as you have COVID in your system, you get to claim it as a COVID death, in which means you get to get more money as the attending.
Thank you, Karaman. If it was that bad, then at least one politician would be genuinely afraid. I haven't seen one who is genuinely afraid yet. Fair enough. Okay, he's asking about the perverse incentive for hospitals to say people died of COVID.
Yep.
Hospital, whatever. And he acknowledged that the statistics he's getting from the states are overinflated. We found that the governor of Colorado, who is a Democrat, actually did a research on this and found he had to get rid of 12% of the deaths that were recorded in state. Dr. Redfield, would you like to comment on that a little bit about?
The governor of Colorado found that they had overinflated deaths by 12%. 12. If the entire thing was overinflated by 12%, it would drop it back under 140,000.
Yep.
It'd be at 135,000. Well, that's 10%. So a little bit more than that.
Well, I've been talking about this for a while as they're inflating the numbers. Remember there was that motorcycle death?
Yep.
Some guy died in a motorcycle accident and they counted that as a COVID death. They keep getting busted doing this. And they're like, oh, that's just one outlier. Well, how many outliers do you need before it's a trend? And Florida's been real bad about this. So yeah, this is bullshit. They're padding these numbers just because somebody probably had the common cold at some point and got over it, and that's still going to show up in the antibody tests. These tests aren't very good. They're just showing whether or not somebody's been sick with a similar disease. It could be COVID. It could be the flu.
The that motorcycle death did get taken off the record. I actually got into an argument with somebody over this, Jack. The reason that COVID death or that motorcycle accident got taken off the record, there were some reporters who were looking at the number of deaths and all the people who had died. And they noticed 2 of the people were in their 20s. Like, that's weird. So they actually looked into it. And they thought it was weird because they were in their 20s. And most people don't die of it in their 20s. And it turns out neither of them did.
Yep.
I forget what the other one was, but this one was from the motorcycle accident. The only reason it was caught was these reporters.
Yep.
Otherwise, it was just shipped right the fuck through. It's like, yep, that's what happened.
Yeah.
And the hospitals get extra money for that.
Yeah, they get federal kickbacks. So they have a massive incentive to pad their numbers or straight up lie. And I don't trust that. I think that's a stupid way of doing this.
Yep.
You can't trust these numbers at all. It's going to come out in like 15, 20 years. Just wait. You young people just hang around. Eventually, they'll quietly release the fact that the numbers were overinflated, and slowly some of the truth will come out, and these numbers will have been, and whatever the numbers they release, the new corrected numbers, they're probably still 20 or 30% off.
Oh, yeah, easily. Probably. That chick, Dr. Brits, whatever her name is, she told us they're overinflated.
Yeah.
And the press decided to excoriate her.
Yeah, a lot of these doctors that are speaking up are losing their jobs.
Yep.
So they have a lot of incentive to keep their mouths shut too.
It's insane. And again, that's not to say people aren't dying. Of course they are.
Yeah, but they might be dying of something else and just happen to have this in their system or something similar. And
well, that lady... Go ahead.
Every death from this is a tragedy, but it doesn't help anyone to pad the numbers and make this look worse than it is. It doesn't help to fight it.
That lady from Illinois, when she's describing how they do it, she says, if it's a motorcycle or accident or something like that, she specifically says automobile accident, and they have COVID, we don't count it. Then she goes on to say, but if they're an old person or they have cancer, we can't prove that that COVID didn't speed up their death, so we count it.
Yeah, that's such bullshit.
So somebody's 90 years old, they get the coronavirus, and they die. They count it as a COVID death, even if they never had any symptoms of it, because they can't prove that the old guy who had no symptoms of it didn't die from it. Yeah. That's how they're doing it, guys.
Yeah, and a lot of these are suspected. They're not even real numbers. They're just, we think. We didn't test them. We just think. And didn't somebody have to amend their numbers down to like 6% of what they originally said?
Maybe. I'm not familiar with that. Peter says, COVID-19 is a normal cold. It's not. It's like a really bad pneumonia if you get the hard part of it. It's basically a bad flu. And again, you can get the flu and have minor symptoms. You can also get the flu and it'll lay you up for, God, mine was like a week and a half. Oh, that sucked, man. Of all of the things I've ever had wrong with me, Jack, that flu, fuck that. I'm an asthmatic. I've had pneumonia twice. I have this shit going on with my body. That flu was just kill me now, please. Oh
yeah, here it is. It was in Orange County, California.
Okay.
Let's see. This is the first time there have been, quote, mistakes related to Wuhan coronavirus in Orange County, California. 30,000 serology tests used to detect whether a person has antibodies for the virus suggested they previously had an infection were counted in the cumulative test to date figures for 5 weeks. In Florida's Orlando, positivity rate was said to be 98%, when in reality it was only 9.4%.
Oh, yeah. We did talk about that. There's a lot of these where they've reported like 90% positivity rates, and then they It was Florida that we talked about specifically because there were 2 counties, I think it was, where they reported that. And if you looked at it, it was either one of them was under 10 and one of them was just over 5. Like the one was 9 and one was 6. So maybe that's the one you're talking about, Jack. And it's because of the way that they're doing this weird shit. There's no way to look at Florida's numbers. Florida's numbers, if you take their official numbers that they release, their positivity rate is anywhere from about 8 to 18. It stays at about 14% for the positivity rates on the tests.
Mm-hmm.
Just looking at that, you can see that whatever fucking moron came up with 90% was wrong. That should have been enough to make them go, I don't think we should tell people that number. We should check it first.
Right.
Yeah. And then you have the people like overseas, they have no cases. Like how many people are they testing?
No people. First of all, never trust China's numbers, but yeah, I don't know. I don't like this. I think this is pretty scummy. And eventually the truth might come out, but the numbers, you're never going to be able to trust these numbers ever.
This is political. And I don't think it hurts Donald Trump by itself. I really don't. I think it hurts Donald Trump when Donald Trump goes, the only reason this economy, which was firing on all cylinders, has gone down is because of COVID. And then they go, but it's only lasting because of you. That has been working for them. That and the Black Lives Matter bullshit.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. I think Trump can recover. I think the press has to be called out, though. I think they need who watches the watchers. You know, they need a watcher.
Well, I think people need to start really waking up their friends to the situation and trying to motivate each other to actually get out and vote.
Yeah.
I'm really nervous as to what's going to happen if Biden wins this, because I don't trust these people at all. And there's so much collusion now. There's a good possibility that we end up with a really quite a few scary socialist policies, because if he does get in and he does get inaugurated, he'll sign anything they put in front of him.
Oh, yeah.
Or worse, he'll step down and we'll get somebody even more authoritarian and dangerous. Kamala.
I worry about Kamala taking the reins because she is she's an ambitious woman.
And she likes power. Look at the people that she locked up and won't let out of jail. That's a scary fucking person to have with that kind of power.
They're trying to play up her reforms made. We saw a story about how she instituted some program to keep first-time offenders who are teenagers from being lifelong jails. You know, the recidivism crap.
Yeah.
And they point to her little experiment there, and it had a much better success rate than people who started using the marijuana in midlife and got busted for it, and then they stayed back in jail. I'm like, well, talking about scaring kids versus trying to scare grown-ass adults. Plus, by the time you found them, they'd probably been getting high for years.
Yeah.
But they didn't talk anything about that one Kate, man, she was going to let a man die.
Yep. Well, it suited her political ambitions and needs at the time, and that's what frightens me. Is that's the type of person that will start locking people up that she disagrees with because she'll have the power to do it.
Look, everybody who tries to be president is going for that office, and that's an ambition of theirs, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's one of the things I didn't like about Hillary. That was obviously I mean, this was a roadmap she made out so she could have power.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump was just like, I think I want to be president. You know?
Yeah, he's had lots of opportunities to seize power or abuse it, and he hasn't taken it.
You have Bill Clinton. He was just a governor who's like, I think I want to be president. Barack Obama, even him, I mean, he made a speech. He got a lot of accolades for it. He's like, maybe I can be president. There's a difference between somebody like that from the presidents we've had or even the people who've run and some of the people who are just, they want that power.
Yeah, and power corrupts, and people like Harris, I think, are very corruptible. But once they've got a taste of that power, they don't like people telling them no.
Mm-hmm.
And that should worry you because you don't want that's the last person you want to actually have power is somebody that wants power.
Yep. Wanting the job is okay, and yes, it comes with power, but there's a difference from wanting the job and wanting the power. And she wants the power bad. And you can see it in the way she's campaigned for Veep.
Yeah.
She's campaigned for Veep harder than she did it for president.
Oh, yeah, because she knows she's a walk-in. And how sad is it that they would have to get their first female or person, female person of color president in by fiat?
Right.
This is pathetic. I hate this on every level.
But, that would still kind of be funny because you could point out that, you still couldn't get a woman elected.
Yeah.
We're going to wrap up here, Jack. But before we do, I want to take a moment to recognize Miss Stargazer Nights. Yes, I said her name properly, so those of you in chat can read it. That's my nuts right there, you guys. And every night she shows up to streams, not just mine, but the ones she goes on. And she tweets out. She repeats our Streamlabs, which is where you guys can go to donate to us if you'd like to. She doesn't get anything for this, guys. And there's other people who do it in chat for us. Prospero does it. Becca does it.
Evolved Potato occasionally.
Evolved. And I know I'm missing people, but those of you who do this, we really do appreciate it. And Nuts, sweetie, we love you.
Yeah, we appreciate all you guys and all the extra stuff you guys do, like dropping our links and sharing the stream and liking it and being here all the time. It really is nice to have people that listen to you, are interested in what you have to say, or just insomniacs, whatever.
Right. Della Hayes, yes. And there's some of you who come every night, and we see you. We do, and we thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming and watching tonight. Thank you so much for the donations. You guys are very generous, and I cannot tell you how much it helps. I could, but it would depress you. Jack, anything you'd like to shill tonight?
I'll throw a link to my Roll for Sanity channel in the chat. I'm pretty close to 1,000. I'm at 914.
Nice.
And that's all thanks to the audience here being so awesome. And otherwise I'll be on Polydub's channel later tonight for comic book curation. And of course, thanks for the donations. You guys have been so good to us. We really do appreciate it.
Don't forget to go subscribe to his channel, guys. Get him to 1,000. I don't normally tell you to subscribe. I tell you to go watch. In this case, I'm telling you, go subscribe, damn it. The link is below, by the way, for those watching later. All of our links are below, including Twitter, where you can follow us to find out when we go live, as well as our Teespring store, where you can get yourself a nice anti-COVID mask.
Indeed.
Jack has the Not Jack mask. And what was the other one you had?
I love thigh gaps.
I love thigh gaps. God damn. I've been told 4 masks up there. But we also have t-shirts that you can wear all the time. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming and hanging out. Jack, thank you for joining me, sir.
Oh, always a good time.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will see you next time. Have a great night.
Bye.
Jack does